So we get back onto that EVS7000 that had all the noise problem, start disassembling the unit to try to locate what's causing the problem and get it solved. A couple of hours later, working on this thing, we've got it localized and got it tracked down to one capacitor that was bad in the audio circuit. We're going to replace that, get this unit working. Let's check it out. So I'm going to start by removing the bottom panel. On this unit, it's actually a false bottom that's got the mechanism for the drawer that slides out. So we remove the screws around the perimeter, and this bottom piece is going to lift off with the control panel, which makes it hard to service this because it's connected by two flexible cables. And without disconnecting them, or if you disconnect them, you can't test it because you can't start the unit up. So you kind of got to lay the thing out so that the unit can be operated or worked on with the controls still connected. As you can see, it's got...
Okay, this removes the panel.
It's got those two flex cables that have to be kept in place.
And let's just see whether that noise goes away now that this panel is removed a bit from it.
One thing I noticed was that the noise was louder when the control panel was in than when the control panel was out. So I'm going to just see whether there's an influence with the bottom cover and circuit board separated from the unit itself.
Here's something to note. Listen to the sound. The same as when I close the drawer. The sound gets louder if I remove the bottom panel. Almost making it sound like something is getting interfered with. Okay, this is the FM board here. If I put my hand anywhere around here, I'll start to pick up local radio stations. I don't know. Make sure there's no grounds that are loose. But I am starting to think maybe our problem is
You know, for that matter, it could even be the video heads are starting to wear on this thing and the signal's a little bit lower. It's a strange problem, that's for sure.
Oh. That's our sound? Is that our sound? Okay, what I have determined through some testing is that the problem is only on the sub channel. It's not on the main channel. So if you put a stereo tape in that has sound on both the sub channel and on the main channel, you have a problem. I'm just going to fire this thing up again and show you what I mean. These are hard units to work on because you have to keep the circuit, you have to keep the boards all connected. If I give a wet finger down here into that circuit, I can get the sound working on the main channel. Stereo, where was it here? As soon as the stereo cuts out, there we go. It's gone to the main channel there. As soon as I kill the stereo, I will have the natural sound without all the static. Right in this area here. There we go. There's the sound. I got the sound. See? Just my finger resistance is making it work. If I take my finger away, so we've localized the area down to here. This, one of these ones here. Watch this. There's where our problem is, right there. It's either gone shorted or leaky. Watch this. Ta-da! Capacitor! This little 10 microfarad cap. I'm just going to stick it on the bottom of the board because I don't feel like pulling the other one out. I'm going to bridge it and see how it sounds. Okay, new cap is bridged in. Play. There's the stereo AFM track. And if I switch it to PCM, you'll hear this level is different. There's the PCM track. There's the So I think it's time to start putting this thing back together and call this one a day. I'll show you something different on this thing here. You notice that the display is out, right? On the fluorescent display, it's out. It comes on when you open it. See, the display's on. Close it, and the display goes out. How cool is that? Just a not so much an energy saving feature, but a feature to save wear and tear on the fluorescent display. No point in having it running if it's hidden underneath the unit and you can't see it. I think that was kind of a cool touch. But then this machine was all about cool touches. This was a very expensive machine. This machine was north of $3,000 in Canada. I bought mine wholesale, and I paid like $3,000 for it wholesale. It retailed at like $3,500. Not a cheap machine. That's why there's not very many of these machines around. You know, people think, well, and they command such a high price today because they were a very expensive machine at the time. A very well-built machine, I might add, at the time. The weak link was that freaking gear that breaks. And I'm not happy with Sony that the fact that they discontinued the part so soon after this thing was made as they did. Also considering the fact that so many of these parts failed. So say this one's got a cracked one. I've kind of put this one together so hopefully it's going to last a little longer, because that crack in that gear that was almost all the way through would have definitely broken very soon, and then the machine would have been, well, depending on how bad they break. Sometimes they break and a chunk falls right off of them and then you're kind of hooped. But anyway, hopefully that's going to extend the life of this one a little bit longer. I'm going to start putting this one back together. And we'll check it all out once I get it sort of reassembled. And now for those of you who are ready to give me a thumbs down because I'm bridging a new part in and I'm not removing the old part, you can take your thumb and you can stick it as far up your arse as you possibly can, because I don't really give a crap. Bridging a cap is an accepted service practice in the industry. And the base goes on. And this just kind of went on like this. And there it is working. Oh, great. Sony tape. Clog the heads. We'll just hit the little head cleaning wheel to clean them off. There we go. This was recorded on a V5000 and I dubbed sound in. So there's the PCM soundtrack. And there's the original. Whenever I do a cross dissolve, the sound will cut out because that's how the camera works, you see. And then the sound will fade up. That looks really good. You can see the tape showing its age. Look at all the dropouts. Dropout city. So, I'm going to say that this one is a success. Rewind my tape. And eject. See this tape, this is as old, but this that was one of the high 8 metal E tape, and this was an evaluation tape when I first got my first Sony high 8 camera, CCD V5000. That's what I recorded this tape with. I took it down to Queenie Park and did what everybody does when they get a new camera. They take pictures of brightly colored flowers so they can see how good the camera performs. And that V5000 actually was a damn good camera for, it was a single CCD, 2/3 inch sensor, and it did PCM sound on the camera itself. It recorded in hi-fi stereo and PCM, and you could dub on it. And basically it would do everything this did because it had a time-based corrector and everything on it as well. So let's put the board back in. And I'm going to call this one a success. Probably clog the heads again with this tape. Yep. Goes the dropouts at the beginning. There we go. There we go. Queen Elizabeth Park. On a typical summer day in Vancouver, on a typical Saturday when everybody's down there. Well, this year they weren't, but normally that's what it's like. It's just swamped with people out there enjoying the sun and couples out there doing their wedding photos. Everybody does their wedding photos there. I did my wedding photos there. And that's another story, because my photographer decided that I can curse him now because the guy's dead. But I made the mistake of hiring a family member who just happened to be a photographer to shoot photos of my wedding. And he came down from the interior. And because he hadn't been down in a while, it was more important for him to go shopping at IKEA than to come down to the park. He had other ideas. He was going to take all the pictures back at the house where we had our reception in the backyard, because there was a nice big garden in the backyard. So he figured I can get all the pictures I want there. Unfortunately, he didn't tell us that, and we hired a limo and took the whole wedding party down to Queenie Park and stood around like a bunch of idiots waiting for the photographer that didn't show up. And of course, we didn't have cell phones back then. I had to borrow the limo driver's in-car phone to try and get a hold of him, and he didn't have a cell phone. And it was like, we took our video camera with us, and we set it up on a tripod, and we stood in front of the camera and waved like a bunch of idiots. It was ridiculous. Anyway, I've been to that park so many times when I was shooting weddings. I've probably been to that park 500 times. Everybody goes there, and you got to line up. Everybody wants the same place. They want to use the little bridge. And every wedding party, you're there, you're waiting around for like 2 hours, doing all your other pictures and stuff, waiting to get that one shot on the bridge. It was absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, just to give you an idea how bad these metal evaporated tapes were. Look at all the dropouts. Holy smoke. This tape was horrible. There's a crease there going through the tape. But, just this tape has not had that many passes on it, right? It was a new tape that I shot. Brand new tape, brand new camera. Went down there, shot this footage. Came home with it, dubbed the PCM soundtrack. And the tape's been just kind of sitting around. It's been played. This tape might have 10 passes, maybe 15. It has not had a lot of play. It was played a couple times. 20 passes at the absolute most, and that's including the ones I've done on it recently when I've been playing it in machines. Really, it has not had very many passes on it. This evaporated tape. This is early evaporated tape. It didn't help. It didn't hold up very well at all. But man, it looked good. You know, for what it was, it really did. It really did have a good, very good signal to noise and very good resolution when it was new. But as you can see, it certainly hasn't lasted like it should have. Anyway, that does it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.